Hollywood, the dreamland we usually only see on the silver screen, is now experiencing some very unglamorous events. Yes, you heard it right, Hollywood is currently in the midst of a large-scale strike. And it's not just one union, but two, the actors' union and the writers' union. Together, they have created this dramatic strike spectacle. I guess Hollywood has truly been infected by its own movie plots, making it feel like they're acting in a blockbuster themselves. This is the first comprehensive strike in Hollywood since 1960, when Ronald Reagan was still the president of the Actors Union. Many years have passed since then, and now we can only read about him in history books. Now look, doesn't history have a magical sense of cyclical repetition? When I saw this news, I thought to myself, this strike is quite theatrical indeed. It's like the male lead and female lead from a movie suddenly standing together, fighting against those big capital sharks. Haha, seriously, these movie studios are like the villains in movies. They wave around loads of money and say, sorry, we can't give you a raise, we need to use the money in more important places. Then they go and spend that money on buying another island because they already have too many islands. Do you know why they are striking? It's because of the development of artificial intelligence. Yes, the writers are fighting against an all-powerful enemy, AI. Speaking of which, it makes me wonder, while we worry about AI replacing our jobs, has anyone thought about whether AI-written scripts can surpass those of award-winning writers? Or can AI understand our complex human emotions? Can it understand the despair of waking up in the morning and finding no coffee beans? I think maybe AI would prefer to put us into a movie and sit there watching our reactions, seeing how we handle these human problems. Lastly, I want to say that despite the seriousness of the strike, I believe the actors and writers will ultimately triumph. Because without them, movies are just a bunch of empty and meaningless visuals. Without their creativity, Hollywood will lose its soul. So, I stand here in support of them, hoping they will receive the treatment they deserve. Let's all cheer for them together. But before that, let's return to the real world and watch those real, flesh and blood actors and writers create their movies. Speaking of which, North Korea's leader Kim Jong-un has been spotted allegedly using a Samsung folding phone. Let me tell you, it's like catching a vegetarian secretly eating meat, and to make it worse, it's under his own bed. Did you know that North Korea strictly prohibits its people from watching South Korean dramas, using South Korean slang, or using electronics from the South? And here we have our comrade Kim Jong-un, probably thinking, you said they can't use it, but you didn't say I can't use it. I can even imagine him using that folding phone to watch South Korean dramas and grinning at the camera. Remember, he was previously seen using a device that looked like an Apple iPad, and people speculated it was an iPad. I think he probably couldn't stand watching those South Korean stars, so he switched to an iPad to watch Hollywood movies. And now, he switched to a Samsung phone again. Does it mean he doesn't find American movies as good and is ready to go back to watching Korean dramas? Recently, North Korean TV aired a segment with safety tips for using mobile phones, and they featured a smartphone called Santai Shing 8. I wonder if they were advertising it to Comrade Kim Jong-un, saying, look, we can also make phones. Consider our product when you decide to switch phones. Seeing all this, I feel like our comrade Kim Jong-un is quite similar to some of our friends. They all say, I don't like this, I don't like that, but when you turn around, they secretly try the things they claim not to like. Comrade Kim Jong-un, we all understand that you're just a trendy kid who loves to try new things. So, everyone, don't judge by appearances, don't judge by what people say. The real choices are made in the heart, in actions, and even on your foldable phone. Enjoy your evening, and I hope your phone won't be your secret but a tool for expressing your freedom. The Berlin city government has come up with a measure that will make you laugh. Do you know Berlin? The capital of Germany, a hub of culture and art, famous for the Berlin Wall. Well, now they are famous for pool brawls. Listen, this is true. The pool brawls have become so serious that you have to show your ID when entering the pool, as if you're going through customs. You think you're going for a swim, but it feels like going to war, needing that identification. Don't forget your passport, or you might not be allowed back after your swim. And this measure was introduced after a large-scale brawl on a slide. I wonder what kind of scene that was. 50 young people fighting on a slide. Can you imagine the absurdity of it? The slide is meant for children, but in Berlin, it seems to be an adult battleground. Honey, would you like to go on the slide? Sorry, there's an honor duel happening there. What's even more interesting is that this new rule was announced by a mayor and an interior senator. They said, we want to ensure that everyone coming to the pool registers in advance. Now Berlin's pools are like high-risk factories, where you have to sign in case something happens. I thought pools were for swimming, but in Berlin, they seem to be battlefields. And the funniest part is that they also said, we cannot have lawless areas in our public pools. Yes, I thought we were talking about Berlin pools, but now I feel like they're talking about an underground mafia from The Godfather. Then, we see the reaction from the police union representative, who opposes having a permanent police presence at the pools. He asks, honestly, do we need to station around 100 police officers at the poolside? This makes me think of another ridiculous scene. Imagine this, while you're swimming, there are 100 police officers standing by the shore in uniforms, holding batons, staring at you. Can you still swim? The police representative even said, it's impossible in this hot weather, the police have other tasks to handle in this city, they are not pool attendants. I have to say, he's right. Police officers shouldn't be there to watch the pool, they should be doing their job like, I don't know, maybe preventing fights on the slides? It seems like we can find jokes from anywhere, even in Berlin's public pools. So, if you go swimming in Berlin, remember to bring your passport, ID, and maybe your boxing gloves, just in case. Professor Avi Loeb, a top physicist from Harvard, announced that he may have found debris from an alien spacecraft on the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. Yes, you heard it right, an alien spacecraft. Well, you might have thought he found the Nautilus from 20,000 leagues under the sea, at the bottom of the Pacific, but no, it's fragments from an alien spacecraft. Do you know who Professor Loeb is? He used to be the chairman of the astronomy department at Harvard University and the leader of the Galileo project, in search of extraterrestrial life. If I were him, I might change my name to Interstellar Rogue Logan. You see, I guess he's probably used to coming back from distant galaxies in his dreams at midnight, with spaceships and little green men whizzing by. I have to say, this Professor Loeb's unwavering belief impresses me. He not only believes that we have already encountered extraterrestrial technology, but also that their spaceships might be right on our doorstep at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean. You see, that's why I built my house by the beach, I'm waiting for aliens to park their spaceships in my backyard. I even reserved parking spaces specifically for them, and I hope they bring interstellar chocolates as gifts. Remember in 2017, when an object named Oumuamua passed through our solar system? Scientists said it was a natural phenomenon, but Professor Loeb didn't think so. He insisted that it was aliens sending us a postcard, but our mailman was a bit slow, probably forgot to pick it up at the post office. And then Professor Avi Loeb discovered another meteor called IM-1 that hit the Earth, even earlier than Oumuamua. I guess that was the aliens' express delivery, after all, they had to make sure we received their greetings. Now, these tiny iron ball-shaped fragments they dug up, they are precious treasures on our Earth, considering they might be gifts from space. As for what they are, it could be alien lucky money, or their car keys, or just space junk, who knows? Professor Loeb is very pleased with this space treasure hunt. He believes it's historic and successful, as it could be the first time humans have come into contact with interstellar material. He might have forgotten that we actually came into contact with interstellar material a long time ago, it's the sunlight we receive every morning. The U.S. Department of Defense has stated that the Russian Wagner mercenary organization will no longer be involved in any significant operations supporting combat actions in Ukraine. Wagner is believed to have assisted Russia in annexing Crimea in 2014 and has participated in some of the bloodiest recent battles within Ukraine, such as the Battle of Debaltseve. A new analysis shows that Iran is currently replicating the components of the drones used by Russia in Ukraine, replacing previously imported parts with domestically produced ones to help its military avoid international sanctions. According to CNN, Ukrainian Southern Front commander Alexander Taranovsky stated in an interview on the 13th that they had just received cluster munitions from the United States, 6 days after the U.S. government officially announced its support for providing weapons. He mentioned that once put into use, it could potentially change the situation fundamentally. The International Olympic Committee has rejected issuing formal invitations to Russia and Belarus to participate in the 2024 Paris Olympics. The International Olympic Committee announced on Thursday, July 13, that Russia and Belarus will not receive formal invitations to participate in the 2024 Paris Olympics, while over 200 national teams will receive invitations later this month in the traditional manner. U.S. President Biden stated that the United States will continue to urge Russia to release imprisoned Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich and is open to considering a prisoner swap to secure his freedom. Free speech advocates and scholars are suing the state of Texas over the TikTok ban, claiming that it violates the First Amendment rights of public university professors. The U.S. Federal Trade Commission, FTC, has stated in a letter to OpenAI that it is investigating whether its ChatGPT artificial intelligence system has caused harm to individuals by providing false information about them. The FTC has recently faced legal setbacks in its antitrust enforcement efforts, and the lawsuit against Microsoft marks another defeat for FTC Chair Lina Khan in her attempts to block tech giant mergers. Khan stated in a speech last year, "I'm clearly not someone who thinks success is marked by winning every case." She added, "I think there's a very serious cost to never bringing those tough cases, and that can lead to stagnation and ossification." Critics of the agency see the investigation into ChatGPT as another risky venture into uncharted territory for the FTC. Industry experts question whether it falls within the FTC's jurisdiction when ChatGPT makes inappropriate comments about someone that could damage their reputation. It's unclear if this falls under the FTC's purview. The outcome of the July meeting of the Federal Reserve seems almost certain. Several officials have recently expressed support for a 0.25 percentage point rate hike, which would bring rates to a 22-year high. However, the focus of this meeting is likely to be on what conditions would prompt the Federal Reserve to raise rates again in September or later in the fall. Under the promotion of the Biden administration's green energy incentives and concerns over overseas supply chains, there is a surge in factory construction in the United States, with manufacturing construction spending reaching unprecedented levels, indicating a resurgence of American manufacturing. Recently, a BBC presenter involved in a scandal of purchasing explicit images has been confirmed to be Hugh Edwards. He is one of the most well-known news presenters in the UK and has been involved in reporting on major events, including announcing the news of the Queen's death. Edwards is currently suspended. The London police stated that there is no evidence of criminal behaviour, while the BBC stated that they will continue their internal investigation. Pita Limjaroenrat, the leader of Thailand's Move Forward party, failed to secure majority support in the parliamentary vote for Prime Minister, despite being the sole nominated candidate. The Thai parliament held a joint session vote on Thursday, July 13, to elect the country's 30th Prime Minister. Out of 705 members of parliament, there were 324 votes in favor, 182 votes against, and 199 abstentions. He needed 375 votes to be elected. A high-profile corruption investigation is shaking the clean reputation of the Singaporean government after anti-corruption officials summoned the Minister of Transport and a billionaire hotel owner. This investigation, announced this week, is the first corruption probe involving a government minister in Singapore in nearly 40 years. For the Singaporean government and ruling party, the consecutive cases involving politicians in the Oxley Road saga and the Ngiam Tong Dao case are unprecedented and will create negative perceptions among the public. Corruption is said to be a human nature and weakness, and to maintain integrity, the Corrupt Practices Investigation Bureau must always be a sword of Damocles hanging over those who are tempted, involved in corruption, and the bribe givers. Gender pay gap in Japanese companies is 30%, with significant disparities in the finance and insurance industry. A survey shows that the gender pay gap in Japanese companies averages 30% across all industries. In the finance and insurance industry, women's wages are only 60% of men's. According to OECD data on the median gender pay gap by country, Japan has the highest gap at 22% among G7 countries. Explosion occurs during engine test of Japanese Epsilon S rocket. On July 14, the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency, JAXA, conducted a ground combustion test of the Epsilon S second stage engine at the Noshiro Rocket Testing Center in Akita Prefecture, but an explosion occurred about 1 minute after the start. Epsilon S is a small solid fuel rocket being developed in Japan. The Japanese animated film, How Do You Live?, directed by Hayao Miyazaki, was released in Japan on Friday, July 14. This may be the final work of the renowned Japanese animation director and animator. The film, which took 7 years to make, is based on a novel of the same name published by Yoshino Genzaburo in 1937, with the story adapted by Hayao Miyazaki. Due to continuous heavy rain, South Korea has requested that North Korea inform them before releasing water from dams, but the North Korean side has ignored the request. As the inter-Korean communication channels are suspended, the Ministry of Unification cannot send notifications and can only make the request to North Korea through the media to avoid sudden dam discharge. South Korea has welcomed its first pair of panda twins. The giant panda Ibao successfully gave birth to 2 female twin cubs. The 2 babies weighed 180 grams and 140 grams at birth. The International Energy Agency, IEA, predicts that the production of Saudi Arabia, the largest oil-producing country in the OPEC+ alliance, is expected to fall below that of Russia. Saudi Arabia's production cuts are starting to have an impact, tightening the oil market as prices seem to be rising. The International Agency for Research on Cancer, IARC, a subsidiary of the World Health Organization, WHO, has classified aspartame as a possible carcinogen for humans. Aspartame is an artificial sweetener widely used in sugar-free sodas, chewing gum, and other foods. WHO experts state that the new research results do not necessarily mean that aspartame will definitely cause cancer, but they recommend moderate consumption and call for further research. Hello everyone, I'm your news anchor Yali, providing you with a one-stop service for global news every day. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section, and we will carefully read and respond to your comments. Remember to like, share, and subscribe to our channel. See you in the next episode. Take care, everyone.